Hello, everybody, and welcome to POAP Community Call number 39 on this October the 5th, 2022. Already in October, it's spooky season, everybody. Some people's favorite time of the year. I know that I definitely enjoy getting to dress up and go to parties. Are we allowed to do that now that the pandemic is slowed down?
I think so.
Wait, you're supposed to go in groups when you get dressed up? Because normally I just dress up in my own home.
Hey, that's cool too. It's a good opportunity for some POAPs as well for Halloween shenanigans. But welcome everyone. Glad to have you here. My name is Mr. Mojo, and I am your host tonight for this call. Up here with a bunch of my friends from POAPathon. Hello, JENetics. How are you tonight?
Oh, I got a little one who is evidently mad that Minecraft is dropping a skin on him. Oh no.
We also have Nixorokish from Get POAP. Hello.
I'm currently eating PB&J. Hello.
I haven't had one of those in a long time.
It's time. They're as good as you remember.
Well, my fiance is unfortunately allergic to peanuts, so we don't keep those products in the apartment.
Yeah,
Me too. Very sad.
Oh, that's just upsetting. It really is. We also have Logic Beach from Grid Plus. Great to have you as always, sir.
Yeah, I go by Logic Beach from Logic Beach, but I also work at Grid Plus. Yeah, good to be here. Happy October, Spooktober, everybody.
Happy Spooktober to you too. We also have Anthony, the POAP Growth Manager. Great to have you on the call as always.
What's up, family?
And we have two more members from the POAP team. We have Theo, who used to be the Curation body's lead comms. Man, I really mixed that up, didn't I? The communications lead, but now has shifted her focus to being the new POAP Community Manager. Great to have you up.
Hey everybody. Yeah, I've changed my role this week, so happy to be here, tell you a little bit about this, and um, great to, I'm super happy and excited to be here before DevCon.
Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to having a conversation about your new role at POAP. And we also have the Curation body lead, Amanda. Great to have you up as well.
Thanks, Mr. Mojo. I'm really excited about the announcement, actually, of Theo being the community manager. Her heart is, here for the community. So I think we're in great hands.
And also hello to everybody saying hello to us in the community calls chat. Great to have you all here and wanting to talk with us tonight. But all right, so as many of you know, we use guild.xyz to distribute the POAP for this call. To help yourself out later on, you can go into the Join Guild channel, and you want to go ahead and join the guild and get the guild door role for doing so, and then we will talk about how you can claim your POAP at the end of the call. But for now, we're going to go ahead into our first topic of tonight. So, the POAP app had a few updates. So, if you go to the Play Store, or the what's Apple's called? I don't have Apple products. What's the Apple Store called? Is it just the Apple Store?
App
App Store.
App Store. All right, excellent. Thank you. See, this is how ignorant I am of Apple products.
It could be called the IAPE store because, they got to put an I in front of everything.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you go on there, you'll see that there is an update available for the POAP app, and there were a few different things that were added in there. So the first one on the list was some Nfc Technology Integration. Now, a lot of us think about things like the IYK devices whenever we think about NFC technology being used with POAPs. And from my understanding, this is something that allows for the easier use of that. Would I be... is that a bit of a correct analysis of that? Oh no, it seems like we don't necessarily completely know. Oof.
Do you want to repeat the question? I apologize. I was reading a DM.
Oh, sure, yeah. For the NFC Technology Integration, from my understanding, it's so that things like the IYK cards work a little more smoothly. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say that's probably the main reason behind it. I haven't tested out the feature, and I haven't spoken to the engineering team to get entirely how it works. But we've seen this rapid rise of IYK and people distributing and collecting POAPs via IYK devices, which are built on NFC technology. And so I think it's really logical for there to be a better sync between the POAP app and NFC connection that your phone has. And so it's just another step towards better UX, and it's good to see. And hopefully, a lot of you will be testing it out at DevCon.
Yeah, very excellent. We had the absolute pleasure of having Ryan from the IYK team up here last week, and we had a great conversation talking about the partnership. We even had Nick from ENS up here to talk about the partnership with IYK and ENS at DevCon and how they are enriching the POAP distribution environment, and seeing that POAP Inc. wants to also make it easier on them to have their technology work with their product. Of course, it's a mutual handshake benefit, right?
100% iron sharpen iron, baby.
Iron sharpening iron. Exactly. And then there is also the filtering for Git POAPs, which I think is excellent because Git POAPs are definitely a leader in POAP innovation. They're definitely a leader in the use cases for POAPs. And so, Nixorokish, I would like to hear a few words from you about being able to filter out Git POAP specifically on the POAP app.
I'm really stoked about that. You can now go to the Git POAP app, and if you want to see only your Git POAPs, you can use the filter, and just see your Git POAPs, which is cool because sometimes you want to see your Git POAPs, and the only way to do that before this app was to go to Git POAP website. I'm gonna tweet so that you can see like an actual screenshot. Nope, I'm timed out. There we go.
Yeah, excellent. I think it's great as well, and I'm assuming that other types of POAPs that are able to gain prevalence the same way that Git POAPs have would also be able to be filtered in the future, which I think is exciting. And it gives more flexibility for what the user wants to be able to see on their end, what they want to be able to show to other people in their collection as well.
I don't know about you guys, but I would like to eventually see a "You Met Me" filter on there. It'd be cool to see like all of the "Just You Met Me" like one-to-one interactions that you've had.
Yeah, it's definitely. You can go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I was gonna say tomorrow we'll cover this a little bit with Angelo from WeLook, but they have a new feature, or they have a feature that they are tentatively calling categories. And I believe it's categories. I don't know. I'll say it correctly tomorrow. I have my notes, but it's a really great idea, like what you're saying, Nix, where maybe you can create these like different buckets or folders, or if there is like a smart way that the app itself like automatically categorize based on some keywords, that'd be cool. But I know WeLook has the functionality that lets you set up these different like categories or folders or buckets, and that's pretty sweet. So looks like Git POAP is that first bucket of sorts.
Nice. Yeah, and it's always a great idea to have good metadata on top of your product so that people can extrapolate data from there.
I just wanted to say what Fiore posted. You Met Me POAPs would be an awesome filter for this. So yeah, I expect since Git POAP has a filter for Git POAPs now, this is just the first one that we've seen, and there'll be a lot more, right?
Hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I want to take further a little bit what Anthony said, how WeLook has these sort of like categories where you're able to see different types of POAPs. I definitely think that a really cool feature in the future would be whenever you send in your POAP petition, you say what kind of POAP it's supposed to be. So this is a You Met Me POAP. This is a virtual event POAP. This is an IRL event POAP, etc., etc. And then it has that tag to it. So whenever you go to filter, you can filter exactly what you want to show. And so you could say, look, I like to go to a lot of real life events with POAP, or maybe you just want to show what those are, or maybe you want to say, how many real life versus virtual events do I have, etc., etc. So definitely great to see some filtering being added into the POAP app. And then finally, speaking of WeLook, we have a WeLook Moments integration, which I think is excellent. Speaking of WeLook, I'm going to go ahead and post a link to WeLook because I definitely think it is a great platform that you should keep your eyes on. And they have this feature that is called Moments, where essentially, if you want to think of a POAP as the bookmarks of our lives, well, a WeLook moment would be the text whenever you go to the bookmark. So this is a feature where you're able to have your POAP. You can upload content like pictures of the event and attach it to the POAP, essentially. And then you're able to see all of these moments that are happening because of the POAP.
If people are interested in learning more about that, stop by tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. and hear Angelo from WeLook. Pacific Standard
8:30 a.m. What time zone?
Time. Pacific Standard Time, sorry. There's an event on the top left if anyone wants to come listen. All right, I'll stop shamelessly plugging it at every point I can.
You'll be able to unshamelessly plug it here in a moment. But yeah, I think that the WeLooks Moments is great because as I was sort of describing it, it's a way for you to be able to get more specific in how you actually see these events. Because while you can look at your POAP gallery and get like the memory jogging that comes with being able to see that snapshot of the event, as time moves on, I'm at least one of these people where as time does march on, my memories of specific things and like the minute details of events sort of fades away, and I'm really only kept with like how I felt during the event, or perhaps maybe like the absolute biggest moments of what happened there, but I may not necessarily remember like oh man, this person was wearing this funny costume, or like we all decided to get together and take a group photo, and there was this person, and this person, and this person, and this person in the photo, So, or even you go to a conference and you're able to see like what did the venue look like, who all was there, and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's super amazing. When we have a moment that we put on chain and we use POAP to have a creative, have a title, have copy, I think you can really put a lot of information there. But I think that is not the end all be all. And maybe that's sort of the start. So being able to attach additional data points, like in WeLook Moments case, like additional photos, sounds like really, really great next step towards the like cool POAP ecosystem and cool collector and issuer experience. There's so many ways to slice it. There's a lot of things you can do once that feature exists.
Yeah, it's really helpful for things like a POAP historian type role too, because there's only so much information that you're able to pull from looking at the POAP art and from reading the description. And so, especially if you want to learn about an event that you didn't necessarily go to or attend, if you have something available like a WeLook moment to be able to see everything that was encapsulating that POAP, I think it's an excellent thing to be able to integrate into the app. But
Now I can't let this moment pass by as a curation lead without mentioning how really nice and important it is to actually not, as Anthony said, like have the POAP description and copy be the end all be all, but almost the starting point. You want that to, have a strong copy that captures the event. So if a collector can look back on this memory 5 years from now, they understand what it is. So it's more the foundation of what we're building on top of it. So couldn't let the opportunity pass by to not mention good copy.
Jen, I have a question for you. What kind of value do you see in this WeLooks Moments integration?
When I was at NFT NYC, I did collect quite a few You've Met Me POAPs, but a lot of people use their PFPs. And I'm meeting people IRL, and I don't necessarily remember the human face to the PFP face. And so I think it would be really cool to take a selfie with that person and attach it to that You've Met Me POAP, or anyone who collected my You've Met Me POAPs when I go to events. And even though I use my real face, a lot of people don't. And that's the value in it for me, is it helps make sure that I remember, oh my God, that's what, iDecentralized Anthony looks like in real life. He's not an ape.
Kind of have my ears stick out a little bit, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I think it's a great point that you bring up. With a You Met Me POAP, you can kind of have like a selfie collage with all the people who were able to meet you. That's actually a really cool idea now that you bring it up. But all right, Logic Beach, I'm actually going to toss it to you a little bit. What kind of value do you see in something like a WeLooks Moment integration?
So I think I understand this correctly, but all the holders of a POAP from an event can upload pictures into this live moments, or is it WeLook moments? Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that is how it works.
Yeah, it definitely adds another dimension to an event where someone earned a POAP. Like being able to actually see pictures of an event really strengthens the memory. So it's sort of like, yeah, it's definitely another dimension to a POAP. Like you have a memory of a POAP. Like JENetics just mentioned NFT NYC, and I was sitting there scrolling through my WeLook, and I was just seeing. I have sort of like a vague idea of where I was when I met these people, but how cool would it be when you do that, just to like snap selfies with them and have a bunch of those in the WeLook profile for that POAP, like a Met Me POAP. I don't know. It's exciting. I'm excited to be able to use that. I know we haven't been anywhere really since, like crypto wise, since ETH Denver. So this will be a big deal probably by the next conference we go to. We won't be in Bogota, but most likely at ETH Denver. For sure at ETH Denver. I'm excited about it.
It's definitely something that is going to be able to add plenty of value to our POAPs, but I do want to move on from talking about what's going on with the POAP app. Having some great updates on there, but Nixorokish, I want to pass it on to you. So Get POAP had their second community call on the official POAP YouTube channel yesterday, and I would like for you to talk to us about how it went. Now I'm going to go ahead. I want to link that in the community calls chat as well for you. There you are.
Way ahead of you.
Oh,
Look
hey,
at
would you look at that?
that.
Double post. All good. I'll just delete
Deleting mine.
mine.
Oh, no, you okay. It went really well. We had a chat with Ryan Berkmans. Ryan Berkmans is he has been in the ecosystem for a very long time. He talks a little bit about his history. And he's kind of an OG, and our main goal for the call was to highlight his project, which is a project called 3 Cities, and then talk about how contributors can earn Git POAPs to it. And the whole goal of Git POAPs is to incentivize more work towards open source projects. And this is an open source research project that isn't really a working product yet, but he wants to get it there. And so we sort of talked about exactly how Git POAP can fill that niche between contributors who are wandering around, not knowing exactly what project to contribute to and the projects that are looking for these people, because they need a little bit of matchmaking there. Like I ran into someone on Reddit a couple of days ago who I had a conversation with, and they posted in the finance subreddit, said that they were a new developer and that they like had all of these skills, like Web3 skills, developer skills that they wanted to put somewhere, but just weren't sure what respectable projects were like welcoming contributors. And so I responded and I'm like, well, I work for this thing called POAP, which it's our exact goal to connect you with the projects looking for you. And so we talked a little bit about what Ryan sees as being a barrier to those contributors and exactly how projects can get those contributors to come in and like sort of manage them a little bit, about tell them what they can do. And he had some really good insights. It was really interesting. I'm really glad that we had him on. And I imagine that I'll share that YouTube video, or at least clips from that YouTube video, for a while, because he definitely has some good ideas for projects to incentivize contributors.
Yeah, it was definitely a great watch. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend it live, but I was able to go back after the fact and have a good listen to it. Definitely some really important topics that were brought up during that call. So, would you like to describe what his project is? What is Three Cities exactly?
Oh, Three Cities is a web commerce project. So it's definitely in like research stages right now, but he is creating decentralized payment methods for people to be able to like create links to get paid directly without, and like abstract the idea of like what network you're on, what token you're paying, and just have it like take whatever, read your wallet and know what you have and say like, okay, she wants $5, so you're gonna pay her in whatever is the equivalent to $5, and we're just gonna give it to you like this, so that it's a smoother user experience. There were a whole lot of other features that you should go look at, but that was one idea behind Three Cities.
Yeah,
I can link
excellent.
the GitHub.
Yep, and then it sort of shifted into, what does a repo owner need to do in order to actually have people want to contribute to their software? Would you be able to give us a few highlights of that conversation?
Oh man, I do suggest that people go through and watch the video. He had a lot of very good, like opening issues was one of them. Uh, Sort of cleaning up repos so that people know what the project is about and where it's lacking development. Just general good advice for all repos.
And so now I have a question for you, Nix, as well. So when you think about how people are able to get energized to want to contribute to a repo uh, through GitPoApp, what are some of the key elements that you're able to think of that can have people want to contribute?
Most people do want to contribute to a lot of projects. If they have the free time and they're roaming around on the internet in Web3 community spaces, I think a lot of them would like the opportunity to contribute. They're just not exactly sure where to contribute and where their skills will be needed, because like 90% of people in this world are walking around going, oh, I have no skills. Whereas like that's not true for most times, and most people can contribute in good ways if directed correctly. Um, I know that I have spent a lot of my life walking saying I have no skills, and the more and more I found good niches and good mentors the more I have found myself to be useful and have like discovered value in the skills that I didn't recognize in myself. And so I think that just having projects be thinking about how do I get contributors to come here, and almost giving projects direction on how to give contributors direction. Shoot. Apparently my audio is not great. My
No,
internet's
I heard you. Yeah, you got a little quiet for a little while, but I heard 98% of what you said, maybe more.
cool. Cool.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But okay, so I actually want to end off this topic with something really interesting that was brought up at the end during the POAP distribution. You were talking about certain things that you can do with the funds that were raised by people wanting to claim your community call POAP. And one of the really interesting ideas that I heard was this concept of where you take somebody who is earning Git POAPs and they're contributing to repos, and then you take the funds that are raised through the community call POAPs and you sort of give someone the opportunity to go to a conference. Can you sort of tell us a little bit more about that? I thought that was a really interesting thing brought up.
Yeah, we're excited. So the first community call, we had 200 POAPs available, 60 people attended the call, and within 2 or 3 minutes, all 200 POAPs were gone, and a lot of people who I know were real did not get POAPs. And so we had a farming issue with that one, and they cost $1. And so this one, we went to the other end of the spectrum, charged $5, and definitely didn't have it farmed. But in this space where we are trying to figure out exactly how to implement a good spam resistance mechanism until we find an actually Sybil resistant solution, we want to find a good place to put those funds that come from POAP or from the POAP sales. And one of the ideas was that we take those funds and create an application that people can apply to. And the idea is that they'll have at least one Git POAP, but we want it to be someone who is has already shown that they can contribute, has already shown their willingness to develop. And so they are somebody who has worked on a personal project, or somebody who has worked on somebody else's personal project, or somebody who just contributed to a big project. But somebody who is actively trying to get involved with the ecosystem. And the best way to get more involved with the ecosystem and to build personal relationships is to go to conferences. But a lot of people can't afford to go to conferences because they're in places like Amsterdam or Colombia, where you have to pay $700 your hometown to where it's going to be held. And then you have to pay lodging, which is super expensive. Then you have to pay for the conference ticket, which are really expensive. And so it kind of gates that experience for people who have already made it or who work for a company. And so we would like to be able to take a developer and sponsor them to go to that conference. So we would buy the ticket for them, and we would walk them around the conference. We would introduce them to people, because warm introductions go a long way into building those personal relationships, even at a conference. But that was one of the ideas. The other idea was that we just straight up pick a project, whether that's Git POAP or another project that's supported by Git POAP, and we stream the funds back to those contributors. So you can use Superfluid to stream all funds to any NFT. And we would, and they're building out the like a POAP specific integration. But we would drop the money into a fund that just gets streamed back to Git POAP holders. And so that would be fun because it would be money going straight into the developers' wallets. And the other idea that we had was it just to relinquish it and drop it in the Gitcoin matching. I feel like I should say the end when I'm done talking. I'm the end.
It sounded like you cut out, to be honest.
I think you cut out like literally 3 to 5 seconds before the end.
Oh.
Yeah.
She said something about relinquishing funds to Gitcoin grants. I think that's the last thing you said.
Yeah, that was our third option. So if the
Okay.
developer fund didn't pan out, if the streaming didn't pan out, we would just relinquish the funds to get the Gitcoin matching pool.
Well, those are definitely some great ideas, and thank you for sharing that with us. So, if anybody is interested in being able to attend a future Get POAP community call, I'm going to go ahead. This is the official POAP YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe over there, and whenever a call is coming up, there will be an announcement, and you can set a reminder for yourself when it will start. But all right, so we do want to move on. So, Anthony, you wanted to talk a little bit about a new event that POAP is going to be hosting here on this Discord called POAP Citizens. So please talk to us a little bit about it.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of keep it brief because I already mentioned it a few times. But tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to be interviewing Angelo Antonelli from WeLook. This is part of a new show called POAP Citizens. I don't know how long the run is going to be. Is it going to be 5 episodes or 100? TBD. Is it going to be me as the host forever? Definitely no. But at least I'll be the host of the first one. And I'm just super excited to chat with Angelo. WeLook has been really, really, really hard at work building their own platform, their own software, but a big part of it connects with POAP. And so excited to hear Angelo's story and all the amazing work they've been doing. And, you know, they had a super explosive moment at ETH Latam. They're coming out of Latin America as well, which is like a hotbed right now of talent, particularly around Web3 and tech. And so just happy to hear their story, share their story. They're a crucial part of the POAP community ecosystem. They're one of the citizens here, and excited to chat with them.
Yeah, but definitely sounds like a great opportunity to come and be part of this community a little bit more. You know, it's always great to see POAP decide that they want to do more with their community, be able to get more content out there, be able to highlight people who are building on top of this wonderful protocol and spotlight them.
100%. There's a lot of amazing people who contribute to the POAP ecosystem, whether it's inside of POAP Inc., whether it's random community members, issuers, collectors, or teams that are kind of building on top or next to POAP, and would love to highlight some of these amazing people who don't get enough spotlight right now. But and the POAP family is a huge family, and hopefully we can spotlight some of these citizens.
Excellent. And is there an event already marking that for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's in the Discord. Everyone could go over there and mark if they're interested. It'll be live Discord event, audio only. No one has to see my ugly mug right now. But yeah, super excited for it. Angelo's a great guy.
All right, great. Definitely going to be stopping by tomorrow to be able to get the alpha that's going to come out of that. But all right, so I do want to go ahead and move on to our next topic. So, JENetics. You wanted to talk about how POAP and Warner Music Group's partnership keeps on evolving and how Warner Music Group keeps diving further into the Web3 and NFT space. So please tell us about it.
Absolutely. So music NFTs are one of those things that are definitely evolving on a day-to-day basis. And part of that, what we're seeing is with Warner Music, Nashville hosted its first ever Web3 Summit on Tuesday, the 27th, and then announced its partnership with OpenSea on the 29th. Warner Music Group remains committed to NFTs and the wider Web3 space for some of the major labels acts that are poised to receive early access to OpenSea's new drops, products, along with improved discoverability, personalized storytelling on the customized landing pages, and OpenSea's industry-leading safety and security features, is one of the quotes that I have. You know, POAP has been collaborating or partnering with Warner Music Group. The two of them have been partnering and interacting for a little bit now. And the benefit to that is not only our music NFTs, I think, one of the next advancements in the NFT space that is highly anticipated, and the next like evolution of our Web3 space. But it also means that there will be a lot more what I call normies who are going to be onboarded from these IRL events, and we are going to turn them into degens. So it's a market that not a lot of people have been able to tap into. The art market has a lot of opinions on the Web3 space and NFTs. And as we all know, artists and POAPs go hand in hand. And it's really exciting to see that the music industry is also beginning to look towards the future and POAPs.
Yeah, I definitely agree that something like a POAP and attending something like a concert definitely goes hand in hand. It's like it's like a marriage made in heaven, right? Now that's kind of what they're for, the POAPs.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how these POAPs are distributed. We've seen some different techniques in the past. One was the giant QR code. It was a stagnant QR code behind the performer. And that one was probably minted out nearly immediately. How else could these be distributed is a good question.
Yeah, I actually have the answer for that. So, so POAP and Flowcode had a partnership about a few months ago now, where they're able to use Flowcode's QR technology to be able to have an at-scale distribution of these POAPs for these artists. And it's another one of these partnerships that POAP is able to create to be able to make their entire ecosystem work better for everyone.
That's amazing. It's super exciting to see. And I also love that Warner Music Group's intro into Web3 was a POAP. And one of the things that we say is the easiest way to onboard our lovely normies, because we were all one at one time, right? Is through a POAP. And that's exactly how Warner Music Group has started. And they've progressed onto the NFTs. And yes, our gateway into Web3 is a POAP.
So Logic Beach, I have a question for you on something like this. You are a artist yourself, and you definitely dabble into the fine arts. What do you think about Warner Music Group and their artists continuing to use things like POAPs to give something to people who attend the concerts, and then in turn use those POAPs to then give additional benefits?
I can only speak from experience. I've never been to a concert and got a POAP for it. Been to lots of concerts, but I think it's definitely a like added value to an already valuable experience. I mean, that's it simply. I'd also really love to see artists release. Well, I guess people don't really do physical copies of music anymore, but maybe some artists are still printing on vinyl. So maybe that what I just said is false. Like it'd be cool to see artists that ship a vinyl record and then there's a POAP in it. So it's like I don't know, like a paradox. Like you're ordering some music that's like in a format that's way outdated, but it comes with a POAP, like cutting edge. Yeah, exactly. JENetics POAP codes in a vinyl record. um, yeah, I mean, I've personally released an album that had a POAP hidden in it. Like you had to do some steganographic wizardry to work out the POAP claim link. That was sort of, I want to say, way back in the day when you could actually just put a secret word out there with POAP for stuff like that. Can't do that anymore. Farmers they're too hip. But yeah, I'd love to see it, and well, I don't want to give anything away, but I there's some good ideas in the future, and I want to go to one of these concerts and earn a POAP for doing that. Like I'll just go to the concert for the POAP.
So Amanda,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So, Amanda, I have a question for you. So, thinking about the Warner Music Group partnership and the POAPs that they give out, with you being over the curation body, how often do you see one of these artists actually put in their petitions, or I should say somebody representing them put in their petitions to make their POAP for their concert?
I think you know that's a secret.
Is it a
That's a POAP
secret?
secret.
Is it
I
supposed to
think
be a
that would be
secret?
a secret. No, I
Oh,
don't think so. I don't
okay.
have the data offhand. I don't think it's a real secret. I don't know the exact number. I just got back from vacation, bringing my daughter to college. But I will say that when you do see those things, like it's really cool what you get to see as in the curation department and the stories that we see there. Because the artists that we see come through I don't see them as often because I was on vacation, but it's fun. We'll have to get you the data on that later.
Yeah, I definitely want to be able to see it because I think it's very interesting how there is this partnership and how artists want to use them, but I never really know who all is actually using it or like what everything entails with the partnership. So, but all right, Theo, I have a question for you. So you used to be doing the communications. What kind of work were you doing with a partner like Warner Music Group to help their artists be able to use POAPs in the best way possible? What kind of things are you talking to them, to Warner Music Group? Goodness, if I can phrase this correctly, what kind of communications are you having with these partners to make these events the best that they can be? There you go.
um, well, in my previous role, I didn't have to deal with these specific cases from companies. You know, we have a biz dev team who is in contact with this type of companies. What I did was writing content and guidelines. You know, most of the discourse articles when we talk about the policy, the guidelines were written by me, with the help from Curation, from Amanda, also from Anthony to spread the word. Isabel was involved as well, but I didn't have direct contact. I don't have direct contact with these big customers or big companies. I work more with the community and helping smaller communities or Web3 communities as well with their POAPs and understanding the ecosystem, the ethos of POAPs, how to distribute their POAPs, what are the best guidelines or like how to create quality petitions and distribute their POAPs responsibly.
Okay, apologies for the misunderstanding, but thanks for educating us on that. So,
No
yep.
problem. I'm happy to. Yeah, I love to. That's a job I really liked. I've changed this week, but I will still working very closely to the community. So I'm really happy to.
Yes, and I actually do want to talk about that in a moment, but Anthony, I do want to kind of just look at you for one moment on this, and maybe Nixorokish as well to give you the last word. But Anthony, I guess I'm just going to kind of throw it to you. How do you feel about POAP's growth perspectives with this partnership getting more fleshed out and more artists using POAPs through Warner Music?
Yeah, so I don't want to necessarily speak about that particular instance, but I think it's a great signal that there's kind of a few things going on, right? POAP was invented in 2019 and this grassroots effort at the ETH Denver hackathon, and has really become this like this self-growing mechanism, even as close to like a real live organism as there can be, where more issuers are issuing POAPs, collectors collect them and they love them, and then some of them become issuers, and it's like this like reflexive growth loop. It's super exciting when you see really, really big brands start to issue POAPs, because that footprint that they're creating of collectors, they could be sending out POAPs to thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of collectors over time. And then that in turn creates more POAP community members, more collectors who might also become issuers, and it just kind of grows over and over again. And it's just really amazing when you see these big names, because it also gives more perceived positive reputation or perceived authority to the POAP brand, where us in Web3, we know POAP is super important, and if you're listening to this, because you know how cool POAP is and how unique it is. But sometimes people who are outside of the Web3 space, or our culture, they just need to see a Warner Music Group name, or they need to see a Fidelity name, or Adidas name to really believe it. And I think POAP is one of those names, and will be bigger than maybe many of those names I just mentioned, but it takes some time. And super exciting what the community does and Curation does on the direct front of securing the protocol, educating. It's like this true heart of grassroots effort. And then on the flip side, the BD team, who is doing also equally champion style work of talking to these really big enterprises and organizations who might not even get NFTs, but are starting to get POAP. And everyone has a role to play in this amazing story that's being crafted right now.
I am right there with you on that. Being able to have those brand names give some power to what these POAPs are and what they're able to do. Definitely great to see it happening and seeing that it's growing even more. And then to finish off this topic, Nix, I want to go to you for a final word on this. So you do onboarding with GitPOAP, trying to get repos to want to use the platform. What is your take on this partnership being able to onboard users to just using POAPs in general?
Gonna be honest, with Git POAP so far, it has mostly been projects being really excited to onboard to Git POAP. We've had to do very little reaching out, trying to convince people to want to use POAPs. And we're kind of operating on that philosophy right now. We want the projects that reach out, that get onboarded with Git POAP, to be projects that are already excited about POAPs. So we don't really do reaching out to projects and trying to convince them of the value of POAPs.
All right, understood. But all right, I think this is a wonderful thing to see. Definitely going to be keeping our eyes on this some more, kind of like we have this whole past year, really, ever since they started the partnership in, I think it was February, if I'm not mistaken. So good to see that it keeps evolving and keeps moving forward. But all right, so I do want to go into our community spotlight to end off our call this week. Because, man, we've already flown through 50 minutes of our time. Can't believe it. Happens every single week, I swear. But all right. Theo, you have transitioned from being the communications lead in the Curation body over to being the POAP Community Manager. So please tell us, what is all that going to entail for you?
Yeah, it's fun fact. I started at Curation first. Then we decided to split the teams between communications and curation. So because my background is in communications, I'm a journalist. I naturally went to communications, and now I'm in community. I always felt very, very close to the community since I started giving POAPs in 2019 in several meetings, Web3 meetings here in Argentina, some meetups. So I always felt very, very close to the community. But yeah, we are working with Anthony on the community strategy. We are thinking about, I don't want to spoiler too much, but we are working on some interactive content for the community. Also, probably some games or trivia. So be prepared to interact more with us. You know that I think the community calls were one of the first interactions we had with the community. So I'm very, very grateful we have these spaces, but we also want to be more and more close to the I don't know if the word is close, but I think we want to engage more with the community, and we want more participation from the community. So yeah, get ready for participate, to play games with us, to enjoy being part of this amazing community, this amazing ecosystem. Enjoy being part of being a POAP citizen, a builder, because we want to have fun. POAP is preservation of memories, but it's also fun. So I'm very excited to having joined the community manager role.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on that.
Sure.
That I think we're really, really lucky to have Fio. It's not very many people who've been involved in the crypto, Ethereum, DeFi, NFT culture for so many years. And so to be distributing POAPs in 2019, and then with the POAP team now, and then taking over a community or being one of the community managers or the community manager is like just such an amazing story because I didn't even issue my first POAP until I think late last year. I collected POAPs in 2019, but I didn't issue them. And so it's just like it's like a really great history that you have, and that in your role, that you've been in for the past, it hasn't been a year, but close to a year, or maybe even a whole year. You've been like directly in touch with issuers and community members, and so you've been able to build that connection, and that connection and that skill set and all that knowledge will transition over so well to helping grow our community and put in place a cool community strategy. And it's something we've been needing. So very happy to be working with you. And I think POAP community is lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have you.
Thank you. I feel really, really grateful and excited to be here.
I need to speak on behalf of Curation Body. We are so sad to see Fio go. But she's going to do great things in the community section. She's so community role. She's so prepared for this aspect of the job. I think something that you were saying earlier about how you're making educational content and sharing that with the community. And I wanted to highlight how we have triage as curators, and you will sit there and listen to us and help understand how to best communicate things and write those articles based on what we're seeing from the community. It's a really cool thing to build, adding on to what Anthony said.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm sad I left Curation, but I know I left the team in good hands. So yeah, I'm excited to be where POAP needs me. That's what I told Isabel when she proposed me to work on the community side. Like I love POAP, and I will do whatever POAP needs. Not development, of course, but any other roles that I could cover, of course.
All right, so we have been touching on it a little bit, or I should say you've been touching on it a little bit, but I sort of want to put it under the microscope just a little bit and throw this question at you, Fio. So you are now the community manager here at POAP. What does community mean to you?
Oof, that's a difficult one. But for me, community is a group of people that share the same values. It's not people that just gather or that do things together, but it's also people that share the same principles and values. It's only an opinion, but yeah, I think community is something bigger than just gathering or meeting or sharing a moment. community is sharing the same purposes.
I think I definitely understand what you're saying. It's one thing to just show up. It's another thing to actually interact and give value to your community as well that you're a part of.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, it's totally different. Yeah, and I think it's like I said, not only be there and show up, but also sharing experiences, sharing the same principles, the same values, adding value to the other, to the other person or to other people. So yeah, that's community to me, and I built this description of of community being in the Ethereum ecosystem through all these years, being in the POAP ecosystem as well. It's not something I knew before. It's something I built during the last 4 years, being part of this amazing ecosystem.
Anthony, I think you wanted to say something earlier.
Yeah, I actually wanted to say like what Theo originally said, which was like close to a condensed version of like a community is people who share similar values or ethos, sort of that, like shared values. I actually really agree with that because if we look at any like community historically through society, even if they like go to the same events or like the same foods or any type of thing, often there is like these shared values, and the shared values is what actually is usually why we do something or why we congregate. So like in the case of POAP, it's like everyone who enjoys celebrating like human connections or precious moments, etc. And then I think that like anyone who enjoys those things and like uses POAP then is subsequently in our community. And anyway, I just wanted to opine that like that was like a really like short description, but actually like really accurate at the same time. And there's a million ways to slice community, obviously, and like the interpretations, but I think starting at the values or the ethos is actually a really, really good starting place.
And Amanda, you made a pretty good comment here in the community calls chat saying that communities build their lives together. Would you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, it was a echo of what Pio was saying. I think it's communities are a part of your, that's if you go back to like literal thought of it, it's your neighbors, it's people next door, it's people that the same problems are affecting them as they are you. You celebrate things together, you mourn things together. It's not just a stranger to you, it's somebody that I don't know, you see them more than once a year, I guess.
Well, definitely exciting times for the POAP team. Great to see Theo being able to become the community manager. Great to see that POAP or POAP Inc. They're also taking steps to foster healthy community and have somebody really be at the helm to think about what needs to be done to enrich this place that we all love, enjoy, and spend our time in. But okay, we are coming to the end of our time with everyone. Definitely want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and being part of our community, especially everybody up here on the panel for talking to me about everything going on in the POAP ecosystem this week. And thank you to everybody for showing up and spending time with us. So I'm going to go ahead. I want to stop the event here on guild.xyz, and I'm going to describe how you can claim your POAP. So, you are going to go to the Join Guild channel. If you have not already, you need to join the guild. However, I think you would have want to have done that beforehand. I need to get a little bit more up to scuff with how the new participation feature works with Guild. But if you were here for long enough, then you are going to click on the link. Is that available, Anthony? Normally you're the one that sort of does it for me.
Yes, I was just in there and I didn't want to stop the event prematurely. So the link, did you already stop the event? The
Yes,
UI is still
yes.
showing it going for me.
The
Okay,
event
cool.
is stopped.
Just a UI thing. So I will be sending the claim button into join guild now. And yeah, continue on accordingly.
All right, excellent. So you need to have listened for long enough, and then you will go to the you will click your claim POAP button on there. If you listen for long enough, you're going to get your claim link. You will then either send us $1 worth of Ether on mainnet, or $1 worth of Matic, DAI stablecoin, or USDC. And then those funds go to the POAP Community Call Treasury. And I think next week we're going to elaborate a little bit more on what those funds are being used for. And I think that's going to be a very exciting and interesting conversation that we're going to have. But all right, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by with us this week. Always a pleasure to have you here. And if you want to see any part of this call, because you missed something or you need to re-listen, you can always go to the POAP YouTube channel and watch these uploaded calls. Be sure to subscribe. You can see things like the Get POAP community calls that go live on there once a month, I believe, Nix? Or about that frequent?
About that frequency. It's not exactly 1 month.
But all right, thanks for coming, everyone. See you next Wednesday.
See you next week.
Ciao.
Good night.
Bye.
Toodaloo, everybody.
Good night.